Live. We are
Yay!
live at a random time on a random day. It's a surprise live attack.
Well, the time we were supposed to go live yesterday, I was literally on a plane. So I'm like, anyway, can we do something else? Because I don't think I can make this work in any way.
One day we will. One day you'll go live on a plane.
Although I did end up paying for internet. I was on
Oh,
Alaska and it was only
yeah.
$8. And
Yeah.
I'm really obsessed with Vanderpump Rules. So I was like, what good way to pass the like 6 hour plane ride than watch a bunch of Vanderpump Rules? Totally worth that $8. So in theory, I could have.
You could have. It would have been very awkward for people sitting
Oh
next to
my
you.
god, it would have been. Wait, my fiance would have not been happy. He like won't talk to me on the plane. He would not be happy if I was doing a live. He's like, I don't know her. I don't know who that is.
Hey y'all, just coming to you live on this Delta flight. So here's
It
the
would
tea.
be kind of amazing. One day, we should be on the same flight, but, like, in different seats, and
Wait, are we trying to get kicked off the plane? Is this our goal?
okay, maybe we should be on different planes.
Just go live on a plane. I did see someone do that recently. I didn't see the end product of them going live, but I saw a video of them saying, "It was so cool. I went on my live today on my flight." And I just kept thinking those poor people sitting next to them. If even if you're in business class or first class, you can still hear the
Oh my
people
god.
next to you, and that'd be just so annoying.
It really would. Okay, I could, like, minimally laugh on this because I'm definitely still recovering from this god
Whatever you
awful
had.
whatever I had. It's, like, 90% better for anyone that tuned in last week. Hopefully, I sound slightly better, but, yeah, I'm, like, gonna have to control my laughter.
Okay, we'll talk about serious things. No more
Serious stuff
laughing.
only. But okay. So for anyone that didn't know, I just got back. Well, everyone knows I was just talking about it on the plane. I got back from an East Coast trip and I had a nice little run in New York. I went for my sister-in-law's 40th birthday and then
Mhm.
met my nephew, who is the cutest thing I've ever
Oh,
seen. He's
yes.
so sweet, 6 months old. And then I went to New York City. I went to a ton of Barnes& and Noble. I got to hit up a
Mhm.
bunch at local bookstores too, which was amazing to see our book in different places and sign copies and all of that. And then I went to Boston and Cape Cod for a college reunion and then came back. But yesterday, it was like, oh my God, it was like 100 degrees in Boston. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not even exaggerating, 100
And humid.
degrees and humid, and I just can't do it anymore. Like, I'm
No.
not cut out and built for this. Ever since I moved to California, especially San Francisco, which is the most temperate weather ever, I just can't.
Yeah.
So, before this, UA was like, "Did you see Materialists?" Because we had been excited about this movie for a while. Like, I remember you sent me the preview, like, a long time ago that this was coming about
'Cause I
matchmakers.
loved Past Lives. I love that movie
Yes.
by Celine Song,
Me
and this is
too.
her new movie with
Yep.
A24.
And then obviously it's in the realm of what we do here, so it just made a lot of sense. So you were like, "You have to see it, and then we have to discuss it." So I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll see it when I get home. We'll do it." And then yesterday in this heat, I'm just like, "I'm going to the theater. Like, F it, I'm
The
going."
theater,
The
yes. And you went
theater.
to Alamo, which is a great choice
Yeah.
for a movie theater.
And it was like a children's viewing. Like in the middle of the day, they allowed babies in. So it was
What?
like yeah, they have this thing there that, like, it's a little bit more lit up than normal, but it wasn't a lot, and it was only $8. That's, like, actually like, pretty cheap for a movie.
That's
But of
like early
course
2000 price.
yeah, and I was like, "Okay," because you clearly have opinions on this that we'll get into, and I was like, "Well, should I even go to the theater to see it?" And I'm like,
For
$8, I
$8,
can do it,
worth
I
it.
can do it.
And AC?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that was the prime motivation.
Before we get into the movie, I feel like you've gone to 2 kinda children's things now. Tell people about the kids' book reading. I still think your comment so funny. So you were at Barnes& and
Oh,
Noble or one of the
yes.
bookstores,
I
right?
was in
Yeah.
Hingham, Massachusetts, and they set
Mhm.
up a really nice book display for me. Had like 30 of our books there. It was amazing. And it was definitely a more suburban demographic, and it was a Friday in the middle of the day, like in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So I'd say the primary demographic was like parents with their children, so maybe not dateable readers, but you never know. You never know.
Future.
Had a few people that stopped by, but yeah, probably generally the wrong demographic for this specific time. And I had multiple people ask me like where the children's book reading was, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't work here. But also I can hear it. It's like right there. And the best part is it was like the reader had like the thickest Boston accent. I'm just
I
like
can't.
I was just
I can
enjoying I was just like sitting in my chair listening to this book
I
reading.
can't. All I picture is Marky Mark reading Dr. Seuss. I just
I don't
can't.
even
That
know what she
image.
was reading. I was like, I hope you doesn't ask me what book it was because I don't even know. I was so just like drawn in by her voice that I couldn't even. I still think it was like we did this book event in LA, and one of my friends from college, I'll give her a shout out to my friend Bree. She came and she
Uh-huh.
took photos, and it was like how to be dateable on Saturday. And then Sunday was like doggy chew woo or something. It was like some like children's dog book. And she's like sent it to our like college group text, and she's like, the range.
Seriously, the range from our book next to um Mel Robbins' book,
Yeah,
right?
I'll take that
At
range.
which one was that? Which bookstore was that?
That was in Barnes& and Noble, Natick, Massachusetts.
Okay. So we go from that to be front and center to then next to a children's book reading flyer. Hey,
But they were
we're
gonna set
somewhere.
up a
We're
whole
everywhere.
table for us, which was great, of the signed books. My favorite, though, I'm not even sure if I told you this, Yue, there was this, like, elder couple, it was probably in,
Mhm.
like, their 70s, and, like, the woman was with her husband, she's like, "Hal, don't look over there." It's like, how to maintain a mom. Clearly kidding, but it was funny.
Don't do it or do it. So I think this brings up a good point. If you are near a Barnes and Noble in your town, we've noticed that certain Barnes and Nobles get really excited when authors come in to sign. Obviously, we don't know of all the Barnes and Nobles out there. If you are near one and you want to get them excited, ask if they would like some authors in town to sign their book, and then we'll see if we can make it happen. Because sometimes, we have these side trips, and maybe we
Yeah.
can do a little like layover somewhere and sign a few books. That would be really fun.
Yeah, it's perfect, like, you did a few in Florida, like, it's perfect, like,
Hmm.
when we're in the areas, too.
Yeah. Call up your local Barnes and Noble
I
and
know,
let
I'm
us
like,
know.
never would I've imagined I'd spend this much time in Barnes& and Noble.
It's a Barnes and Noble, I know.
I'm like a
And
regular now.
and now you know where all of them are.
Yep.
Good. Okay, to the movie, because we have not discussed this at
Oh my
all.
god, I've
If
been
you
waiting for this
haven't
moment.
if you haven't seen the movie, I don't okay, this is my personal opinion.
Materialists.
I don't personally think that us discussing it gives anything away because I find the movie extremely predictable. You're gonna know the ending already,
Yeah,
right? So we're gonna talk about what happens at the end, but I don't think it's like a big fucking surprise.
I knew what happened at the
Yeah, okay.
end. Sorry, live people. This is the beauty of going live. You get all the coughs and sickness as part of it. So Yue texts me and she's like, have you seen this movie yet? I'm like, no. And you're like, I literally wanted to leave the theater. And I'm like,
Mhm,
okay, now I really am intrigued. And we
mhm.
had very differing viewpoints on this movie, and we have not yet talked about it. We're saving it for right now. But yesterday, I think on the plane when I had internet, I don't know how it was all of a sudden I'm in the algorithm for this movie,
Uh-huh,
but I got like
uh-huh.
all the different takes and how widespread they were. And this is a very polarizing movie. I would say
Huh.
half the people loved it, loved it, and then half the people hated it. And I'm excited
Hmm.
because I think we're on that spectrum. You hated
Yes.
it, and I want to go see it again. I loved it. It was probably one of my
Wow.
favorite movies I've seen in a long time. Yeah.
Wow, so interesting. Because I went with 2 girlfriends, and we were also polarized. My friend Maria and I were on the I we almost walked out, and then my friend Emily was like, "I loved it." She thought it was such a great, l realistic look at dating
Yeah,
culture
I
today.
agree.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay.
so
One thing though,
please.
before we get into it, I think this was funny. Like everyone on TikTok was like, whatever your opinion is, stop calling it the materialists. It's materialists.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I keep thinking, is it the
I think
materialists?
other people did too.
Oh. Oh. Okay, good to know.
Something we learned. Yeah. Okay. So tell me, why did you want to leave the theater? What was it about it for you?
The movie started off strong for me because I
Okay.
thought it was, like, spot on. You can't go on a checklist. Just because you think you know what you want doesn't actually mean that this is gonna be the perfect match for you. I felt like what it missed was a solution to
Mm,
this sort of mindset, and there was a very strange choice that she had to make between a very rich, successful man that she claims she didn't love after, like, a month of dating versus an ex-boyfriend who's a loose-ass broke guy that lives he's a wannabe theater actor that lives with 2 roommates and, uh basically, like, can't keep his life afloat, and she ends up choosing the broke guy because there's love. So I felt like the message that I was getting from it was all you need is love,
mhm.
and the richness comes from the love in your relationship with your person, which I completely disagree with because I don't think love is enough to sustain a relationship. So that's why I was like, I was, I was tearing my hair out because, like, this is the message we've been taught for so long that love is all you need. And the last decade, we've been making progress. Like, no, you need to work on a relationship. You also
Mm,
need partnership and
yep.
compromising. You need to contribute to a relationship. And
Totally.
here we are with this movie in 2025 being like, no, go with a broke ass loser guy because, at least you have love.
So I see your point. I don't disagree with your point, and I agree that love is not enough. I absolutely agree. But I think this is where I differ with how I
Hmm.
view the movie. So I guess first things first, I just loved how much they went into matchmaking culture
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
I feel like I've kind of held back my opinion, to be honest, on this podcast. You and I talk about it a lot, and I hope I don't offend someone, but I probably will because we have friends that are in this space and we've interviewed people. And I think I always try to like keep it professional. But I
Hmm.
think matchmaking is like the biggest scam of all times. Like, I've
Yes.
had friends that are like, should I hire a matchmaker? Because the dating apps are hard. And I'm like, no, like, you're going to
No.
pay an absurd amount of money. It's all superficial. And I know matchmaking is having its moment again, and people are really into matchmaking because apps suck and they're
Yes.
terrible. But I don't think it's a solution. Like, how many people do you know, UA, that have met their significant other off of matchmaking?
Oh, it's zero.
0. And how much money do you think they've spent?
Probably like 5,000,
At
right?
least, at least, if
Yeah.
at least on an app, if you're gonna be, like, picky and, like, have all these, like, I think people think too when they pay, they can have that, like, checklist, like, times a
Yes.
million, because 'cause you're like, "Oh, I'm paying
Yes.
all this money. This person can find it for me." And it also, like, I think people I don't know if people, like, feel as strongly about the matchmaking industry, like the general public, 'cause I'm not sure if they've seen the behind the scenes, but I
Yeah.
have sat with friends of ours that have been with other matchmakers, and I'm pretty sure I know what matchmaking service Celine worked for, because Celine
Yeah.
Song, um I won't say it, but I feel like she worked for one for 6 months, she said, and this is where the inspiration came. I know Lily Womble worked with her, who we've had on this podcast, and she posted something how the first name, last initial was very triggering, 'cause that's what they do
Oh,
there.
uh-huh.
But I've sat with friends of ours who worked for this company, and also for themselves and other companies. And they match off the most superficial things I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, is this really how love is found? Really? So I think the movie just like captured that essence so
Mhm.
perfectly. So I just loved it for that. And it also
Mhm.
does this whole checklist culture that we're in, and even on dating apps. So I know
Yes.
you like that part too, but putting that out there, that I just
Yes.
love that part.
And I've also, on top of that, I've known multiple people who quit their jobs to be matchmakers for this company because this company promised them big money and you're
Yeah.
helping people find love. And both of these people actually quit their job, quit this matchmaking company within a year because they said it was a complete scam. And all
Oh, yeah.
it was all just a numbers game. They just had to get people into
Totally.
their inventory, and it didn't matter if the matches actually worked out. It didn't
Nope.
matter if the people were good. It was just like, get people in.
Well, when someone's paying for the service, you feel like you have
Yes.
to. I feel like apps have taken the stance of like no promises, which makes
Yeah.
people frustrated for other reasons, but they're not like trying to like dig up any last person that does it. And I think, okay, I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler, or maybe I won't give it all away, but there's like one client that, what's the girl's name? The main lead. Do you remember?
Johnson.
Yeah, her character, I forget her name.
What is her character name?
Just call her Dakota Johnson. But the main
So bad.
matchmaker, she had this like one client we were like following.
Uh-huh.
And like basically like no one wanted to date her either because she was like 39 and maybe not like all the things on paper that, guys want
Yeah.
too. It just showed how superficial people could be, which is very accurate in today's world. So
Yes.
with that, what ended up happening is there was a really bad turn of events of this
Mhm.
person that she ended up getting set up with. I won't say more for anyone that didn't see it. And there was a scene that she's like, you know, all of their credentials, you know, how much money they make, you know, how tall they are, you know,
Yeah.
like every last thing about them, but you don't know who this person is. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know the character of this person. And I thought that was so dead on. And this is why I love this movie, is because it has shown where modern dating has gone awry. Like where we're so
Mm.
focused on finding this person that stacks up that we have lost track of the person underneath. And I
Mm.
actually don't think the larger and I've seen TikTok commentary on this. I think it's easy to say that it's like going for the broke ass and like it's like there was like this whole thing of like they're telling us to settle for broke men. I don't think that was what the story was saying. I think they had to have that dichotomy to show it. I think that whole incident with her client really triggered her to think about
Mhm.
like what is it that I want in a partner, and it's not this stuff. It's not the stuff I've been programmed to believe are how you find a partner, because like she was very
Right.
mathematical, and I hate the
Yes. It's
dating
the math.
market and all the
Yes.
language. It's so ick to me. And
Yes.
what's missing in today's world is the core connection, and she had it with that guy. Like, yes, we could say she's regressing to her ex, but like she was someone that didn't let people in easily. And you could just
Mhm.
tell in their interactions, he's who she went to when things were not good. And like, yes, he doesn't have like everything going for him. It's not like okay, it's not like he's a deadbeat. He was trying to work and like pursue his dream of being in theater, which raises another question, is like, when do you give up your dream of like a low paying job if it's your dream? But we could table that one. But I think
Well, I
UA's
think when
rolling
you're
her eyes.
when you come out of your room and you step on your roommate's used condom, I think that's when you
Yeah,
go,
but
"Huh, maybe I'm not really
okay,
realizing
but
my dreams
here's
here."
the thing though. Like, and I have friends that make significantly more than people they're with. And
Yeah.
like they're like, I don't need a guy to support me. Like, I think it's archaic
Correct.
that we're out there being like, oh, we need this guy that makes X amount of money. Like, women in 2025, like, we can't, like, I'm not saying it needs to be on us. And I know people will like be offended by this and come after me for saying this, but like, I feel like it's regressive to think that we need some guy to save us.
I totally agree with. I don't think we need a man to support us financially, but I need a man who's able to support himself. And I need a man who's able to live a life that he is comfortable with. So I don't have to be responsible with that. So the ending of the movie, what pissed me off was that she gets this big promotion, or it's
Yeah.
implied she's about to make a lot of money. And he's buying halal cart food for some date they're having. Basically, like to me, that was like implying she's going to be financially supporting their lifestyle. And then the other issue I have is I I don't think it's I don't think our decisions are our options are ever this drastic. Like you have the
Oh, totally. Totally.
really rich
Totally.
man with like $12 million apartment in the middle of New
No.
York City who's single and coming after you and who like bought an engagement ring after a month
Yeah.
of dating. And then the guy that lives with two roommates and stepping on used condoms. Like
Agreed.
you just never have this polarizing of a decision. I wish that the characters were more realistic, right? Like if you compared this really nice, really rich man who maybe lived in this like $5 million apartment who has some character flaws versus the guy who has a normal job, fucking accountant, whatever, who's probably not like taking you to Michelin star restaurants, is the love of your life, that's an easier choice for me.
Right, right.
But to me,
Totally.
like Pedro Pascal had no character flaws. Like he had height surgery to become taller. Like this guy has had no character flaws, and she gave him no chances to be a deeper partner for her. Because when she experienced that challenge at work, she called her ex-boyfriend right away
Yeah.
and wasn't trying to give her current boyfriend an option. So I just felt like the character development was very lacking.
So I hear you. I hear you. I'm gonna do a rebuttal though. I do hear you though.
Yes,
Like I think
go.
yes, there's always a middle. I mean, it doesn't always have to be extreme, but I think they did it on purpose to prove a point. Like I think with the guy that was like the millionaire, whatever, all of that, it was to show that like you could have everything good on paper, but just the connection isn't there. And
Hmm.
I think ultimately, like, we've all been in those situations before where you're like, you should be attracted to this person. You should want to be with them. They have everything going for them, but you just don't feel that connection. You don't feel that emotional bond to them. And that's something that
Hmm.
just is intangible, that can't be bought. It can't be like an actual quality that's checked off. And I think with
Hmm.
I want to talk about the knee surgery after in more detail, but I think that was showing, right, that this guy was, like, bought into, like, I need to, like, I'm gonna
Hmm.
do this so I can fit in and get, like, be that person that's desirable, and I think a lot of us feel that way. It's like, if I was a little skinnier or a little taller, like, it'd be so much easier for me to be dateable on this dating market, but I hate the dating market. I hate that terminology because ultimately it's about, like, connection to another human being.
Yes.
And I think with the broke guy, it was less about him being like, choose the broke dude. I get what you're saying. I get practicality, some of that, but he got her. Like they had that connection. And I think her old self threw him out because he didn't have like the wealth and like the qualities. And like her new self after this incident realized like what mattered the most was the connection, that she just couldn't like that was like irreplaceable to someone else.
Yes. So I think again, it goes back to I think Chris Evans' character is just very poorly written because there's
Maybe.
like a flashback scene of them and when they were in a relationship and they're arguing over parking for
Yeah.
$25. To me, that's a deeper issue in a relationship is how you choose to spend your money. Finances is always a very sensitive topic. Did they resolve this issue or is
No.
she just now overlooking it and she's like, it's fine, we have love. I feel like it was just oversimplified. Of course, you're gonna have a deeper connection with your ex that you spent 5 years with versus the new guy that you're dating. You have to give people a chance to build a connection. I think she just kept thinking that her connection was with the ex because that's what she knew. So I think like we're thinking I think we want the same things and you took away the message that was more of the positive message that she
Yeah.
was trying to get at, and I was just, like, so hung up on this character. I'm like,
So
"This
maybe
character is poorly
that's
written."
I think that's where there is this disconnect. I mean, I think first of all, it's not a rom-com, so if you're expecting that, I think to me it was less of like, oh, I need to choose the person. It was more of like the people were parallels for what this was trying to like say about dating and love and connection. And I think that's
Yeah.
why I really liked the movie, because I
Yeah.
liked what it was trying to say in the message. I see all your points. I think in an ideal world, she could have just gone back out there and started dating and been like, okay, now I know it's not all about the materialistic stuff, but I need to
Yeah.
find someone I have a connection with. I agree on that. Just going back to your ex all the time is not the solution. But I think, like, I don't know, I saw some commentary that that wasn't what she was trying to say. Like, go back to your ex. Like, that was just what worked for these two specific characters.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's why the miscommunication or misinterpretation of the message is actually more damaging than what the
Yeah.
movie is trying to get at. And I think it's like, yeah, you see some of the people being like, "Oh, it's telling me to settle." I don't think it's telling you to
No.
settle. I think settling is going for someone settling in the negative sense is going for someone you have no connection over with.
Right.
And then just going for like the checklist. I think that's settling. Think going
Totally.
for love is definitely not settling. Going for love is very risky. This is like all about taking this big risk. But Julie, I'm just really irked by his character. I just can't imagine. I've dated a guy who was basically homeless, and I cannot imagine having a sustainable relationship with someone like that who is like trying to pursue their dreams well into their late 30s. I'm sorry, like that's not the life I would ever choose for myself.
I mean, I think maybe that's where there's a split of people that are more pragmatic versus like
Yeah.
romantic. And I okay, so I also saw something on TikTok that said like maybe like they felt like Celine's song was like maybe she was a little far from reality. Like if you're
Mm,
so if you've and I don't know what her background is financially, so I'm just saying what I saw on TikTok, but like if you are come from a situation where you always have financial security, then
yeah.
maybe like going for love alone, because people were saying that they thought it was crazy that she was thinking about turning down this promotion. But how I read it was like she knows how fucked this industry is, like
Yeah.
matchmaking. And she's like, do I want to be part of this anymore? And, like,
Mhm.
that is a luxury. I get that. Like, it's a luxury to be able to turn down a job potentially, and also it's a luxury to date someone just for love and no financial security at all. So maybe there is a little bit
Mm.
of that bias coming through, because I don't know, I do have friends that have this disparity, and a lot of them are pretty well off. So maybe to them, it's actually not that big of deal.
Yeah, right. But the respect, I mean, everyone's gonna have their own different opinion, so I can only speak for
Yeah.
myself. I can only respect my partner if he's able to take care of himself, first and foremost. Like, I don't care about him paying for me, but can he pay for himself? Can
Yeah.
he have a lifestyle that he's proud of? That is what builds respect for me. I also thought there was a moment in this movie, and Julie, I'm sure you'll agree, that I was like, "Don't they have consultants for movies? Why didn't anybody say this?" The girl makes
I know,
$80,000,
I know. A
lives in New
lot of
York
people
City
have
by
said that.
herself.
I
Like,
know.
hello, that was already so disconnected
So
in
maybe she
that.
comes from money. No, just kidding. I know it's
Like,
I
seriously,
know.
like, they couldn't just, like, add 20,000
I
more to
know.
that?
They should have, just to, like, make that not something that people even talked about.
Right,
Or why
exactly.
even disclose her
Why
salary at
even
all?
disclose it?
Like, they don't
Exactly.
need it. I mean, I don't know. I just loved the parallels it brought though.
Yeah,
And like I do feel like when you're so focused on like this ideal person with the checklist and who they are, like that scene at the beginning when she's like at the wedding of one of her clients
yeah.
and she like is getting cold feet about the wedding and she's like, what, why do you want to get married? And it's
Yeah.
basically to like show her sister that she got
I
like the
know.
best, like the trophy guy, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's like, it's people aren't going to blatantly say that, but I do think that like there's a side of dating nowadays that feels like we could have our pick of all these
Mhm.
characteristics. We call it love on demand. It's like you're shopping on Amazon for this perfect partner, And I think that is very detrimental to like lose track of the larger vision of like someone that gets you and loves you. And I think that's what Chris Evans' character was saying to her is like, I promise to be that person that's there for you. And we overlook that in today's world. That's why I liked it.
Mhm. But we also hear that in every vow at every wedding. Like, "I'm here for you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be your person." How many people carry through with that promise? I just feel like it was so simplistic the way she wrote his lines that it made me question, like, how do you know? How do you know this is the person that's gonna be with you?
But
Like, you
she
can say that
knew,
now.
but she knew because she had the history with him. Like I
Well,
get
he can
as a
right.
viewer, but like sometimes you know if someone's like, I don't know. That's maybe I'm just like romantic and I like that.
You are the
I
romantic, you're the dreamer, I am definitely the more like, "How is
yeah.
this really gonna work out?" I kept
Yeah.
thinking like, is he gonna move in with her? Is he gonna pay her half the rent? Like, how are they
You were
splitting
too
their
caught on the
bills?
logistics.
I am, I'm like, "How is this realistically gonna work?" Because, again, I lived in New York City, I fell in love with a guy that was almost he was homeless for about a
Yeah.
week, and it's like, how is this? And I was in my 20s, okay? In my mind, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I will support us through this rough period.
Yeah.
This will work because love will conquer all. And no, it
No.
didn't.
I mean, I definitely see that side of it. I totally get and I agree. I don't think that it's enough. I think people are saying like he didn't have any development in that time. I think like the
Right.
message
Yeah.
I took away from it though is like she realized what was important. And like
Yes.
they use
That
that
I agree with. Yes.
difference. And
She's trying to prove a point. Yes.
she's trying to prove a point because it's a movie, but like, yes, get it. But
But
he
people
did
have missed
say
the
it.
point.
I think people have this. I think that's what I mean. People that love it are saying that people
Hmm.
that you're just like proving the point of the materialists. Okay, can
Yeah.
we talk about the leg surgery?
Okay.
That's a have you heard of this like
Oh,
prior?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. It's huge in Asia.
probably people are shorter.
It's just height has okay, back up. There's all these there's like a montage in the movie of her interviewing people what they want in a partner.
Mm,
And so on the
mm,
men's side, it's always like I want them young.
yeah,
And then there was like some 40-year-old that was like, "Oh, nobody over 30. Even
yeah,
29's pushing it,
yeah.
right?" And then on the women's side, it's like gotta be 6 feet, gotta be 6 feet. It's all about being 6 feet. It's gotta be taller. Oh, he says he's 6 feet. Is he really 6 feet? Like
Right.
that was what they were honing in on. So then they highlight the surgery that people can get where they break your legs and then they reattach them to grow
Oh
longer
yeah.
and you can get up to 6 inches of height from it. What they did not say in the movie is that you are bedridden for 6 months before you can even walk.
Wow.
It is a very invasive surgery.
Wow. I mean, this guy was like basically the lead, like the guy that was supposed to
The rich
symbolize
man.
the rich
Yes.
guy got it, and he was the unicorn. She couldn't understand like why he was like still available. Is basically like if he was short, people wouldn't be he wouldn't be an attractive partner anymore.
Hmm.
And
Right.
yeah,
What did you think of it? The
I
surgery.
I mean, I've definitely heard of this before. I don't think I've heard of it as like prominent in a movie
Hmm.
before, but I've definitely heard of it. Maybe like more like through you and like in Asia. Like I feel like it's not really talked about much in the US.
No, I have never heard of anybody getting it
No.
here.
But I like I mean it's such a thing. Like this height
Hmm.
thing, I feel like apps have made it more of a thing because you could filter, right? Like back like
Hmm.
when you weren't meeting someone online, it's like the Amazon effect of like, let me put every last criteria of what I want in a person. And you're like, of course I want 6 feet over 5'11. But like if you met that same person in person, you wouldn't even know if they were 6 feet. That's like
No,
the crazy
you're not
part to me.
measuring.
Right. You don't have like a ruler that you're just like putting up there. And I think what I liked about it though is just showing like I think he like made some comment like how like women weren't attracted to him. He didn't have job opportunities. It just
Hmm.
shows the world that we're in and like the like how far someone will go.
Yeah, and it's a very realistic conversation because in the montages of her interviewing her potential clients, it's so fascinating that when you first ask someone like, "What are you looking for in a ideal partner?" Everybody goes through the fluffy stuff, like
Yeah.
someone kind and someone patient and someone who, really wants a commitment. And then she'll pitch a client or she'll pitch someone to them and they'll go, "No, no, no, too old," or "No, no, no, too
Yeah.
short." That's when the real shit comes out, is when they're
God.
presented with an option. But
Yeah.
if you ask people point blank what they're looking for, they don't lead with that because they know it doesn't
Socially
mean
acceptable.
anything.
Like
Right.
that
But
one woman that was like, "I want someone of, like, any ethnicity, but preferably white." And she, like,
but
she kept
white.
saying
Yeah.
it, and she's like,
Yeah, but
"So
only
you
white.
want someone white?" And she's like, "No, I'm open, but preferably white."
Or
And it's like
preferably white. Yeah.
yeah.
I still remember that conversation we had with one of our mutual friends. She was like going through a breakup and she's like, "I'm ready to expand into
Oh,
other ethnicities. I don't want to just date white guys anymore." And then another
yeah.
friend introduced her to someone and she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean that ethnic." Wow.
I
She's
just
like, "Oh, not that ethnic."
I don't know if it was Lily Womble. I was listening to her, like, she did, like, she has, like, an Instagram post that because I think she might have worked with Celine at this place.
Oh.
Yeah, and she made some comment, I think it was her, or maybe it was a press I read with Celine, that, like, basically, like, in this industry, you hear, like, the nastiest things that are, like,
Oh,
going
I'm
on in
sure.
people's minds
I'm
'cause
sure.
you think you can pay for it. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm just putting this out there to everyone that thinks matchmaking is the solution to dating right now.
It's
It's
not.
not.
It is such a scam.
It's such a scam. And like Yue and I were interviewed. I'm saying it, whatever. We were interviewed for an article about matchmaking. And I
Yeah.
don't think the woman liked our responses.
No.
We were not included in the article. And I think she was looking for it to be the solution, the silver bullet to dating right now.
The only time I think matchmaking makes sense is if you're match made by someone who knows both of you well.
Yeah, totally.
You got to know someone's character. But as a matchmaker, it's a numbers game for them.
Mhm.
There's a scene in the movie where she's just walking down the street.
Yeah.
Some guy walks by and she goes, "Hey, you single?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, come join my matchmaking service." She's not asking, like, "Are you a kind person? Do you have a criminal
Like
record?"
a
There's
rapist,
none of
yeah.
that. Yeah, she has no idea. She's just like, "Oh, hot single guy.
And
Join my
people can
roster."
lie too, as she found out.
Absolutely. Yep.
Ah,
People lie
yeah.
all the time. So if yeah, you're basically having a stranger match two strangers. How is that any different than just a dating app introducing you to other strangers?
It's actually way worse because it's a
Because
stranger
you're
that's
paying.
you're paying, so your list has quadrupled from what it was,
Yeah.
and there's a pressure to find you someone, anyone. To
Yes.
I was a date once. 'Cause
Yes.
they also try to
Same.
fill the databases, right? Because they need dates. And I
Yes.
literally got on the phone because I had friends that worked for this company, and they're like, "Join our database." I'm like, "Sure, sounds good." I talked to someone, they were like, "Oh, tell me about yourself. Send me some photos of people you've dated so I get your type and all that." And it sounded like they cared about me. And
Yeah.
then literally 5 minutes later, I get a message, "Oh, we have someone for you." And I was like, "Great."
Yeah.
They're like, "He's not really your typical type." Like, literally, we had nothing in common, nothing in common. But I went on the date because I didn't even see a photo, and they were just
Mhm.
trying to fill a quota for him because he's paying and he needs
Yep.
dates. And I'm like, "How is this good for him either?" He's matched with
It's a
someone that would
fucking waste of time.
it's a waste of time, like, it was just, like, one of those moments that I'm like, again, I'm all for giving people tries, but if you just, like, you feel nothing, like, that like, you can't force it either. It was one of those dates that I went and I was like, "There is no way I would have ever matched with this person on a dating
No.
app, ever."
No. Same with my experience with our mutual friend who's a matchmaker. She's like, "Oh, I have the CEO client.
Yep,
You
that's how
should
they
meet him.
lead. Yep,
He's
right.
so good looking. He's so
Oh,
successful.
yeah.
The only thing is he doesn't want to date Asians, but I think you can pass." And I'm like, "What?" Excuse me?
And he
She
was Asian too. Can we
and he
just
was
put that
Asian,
out
but
there?
he
Like,
didn't
he
wanna
was
date
Asian.
Asians. So I show up to this date thinking maybe she made that up. So we have this date that's like not it's fine, it's
Yeah.
blah. And then I come back and she's like, "Oh, his feedback was that he didn't wanna date Asians." I'm like,
You're like, "No." Oh,
"Ha
because I was gonna go and my race was gonna
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
That's just gonna put some powder on. I don't know. What? Yeah, I was gonna hopefully trick him into thinking I'm not Asian?
I
What
have
the hell?
sat with her and other
Mhm.
people, and they were like, "Oh, they're Jewish. They're Jewish. Great."
Yeah.
Like,
Great,
it's
go.
like one little, they love
Yes.
tennis. They love tennis. Done. Like, the most superficial things
Yep,
that do not matter in the long term. It's just such a waste of money.
it is.
Such a
Well,
waste
if
of
that's the
money.
message you take away from Materialist, that is the right message. It's just the
That's why I
matchmaking industry
loved
is
it,
fucked
because I
up.
was like, I feel like this encapsulates so well what's happening in this industry for sure. Celine Song was in
Yeah,
that position for 6 months.
for
Actually,
sure.
Lily said this, that she wanted to write this movie back then. She was probably like, "What the F?
Oh.
Like, what the
Oh.
F is going on? This is great
Mm.
material." And so I that's why I loved it. I loved it for that. I loved it for disclosing this industry and what a scam it is. I loved it for shining light on this larger, like, infiltration of the list, checklist mentality that we've all come to, and
Mhm.
how ultimately that stuff isn't really what matters. And that's what I took away from it and loved it.
And I love the message that you got from the movie. And I wish that the characters were written differently to get that message across because I think now it's causing this divide in which women feel attacked. Like the people who
Yeah.
took away the message that I got walked away thinking, oh, I'm now supposed to like really lower my standards for love. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I just think it could have been written better. Past Lives was a much better movie. It had so much more nuance. This was like oversimplified way of her trying to prove a point when I don't even think there needed to be a love story. I think there could have been a different way of getting this message across. But I'm glad that it did shed a light on the matchmaking industry and what a crock of shit it is. And that if you are dating right now, just go out there and meet people in however way that you see fits you. And if you want to be introduced or matched, ask a friend, ask someone you know really well. Like have some sort of connection and network to this person.
Well, people always ask, like, whenever I tell people that I met my fiance on Hinge, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so rare," which is crazy
So
because
not rare.
dating apps are the number one way to meet someone.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I took this stuff as face value of like,
Yeah.
all the criteria that we're judged against, like, and I think when you really get into that, like, I need someone that checks all the boxes and does that. Of course, like, dating apps are gonna be the absolute worst. Of course they are. And I looked at it as like, this is just a way to meet people and focus more on the big picture of who this person is and how they
Yeah.
work for me.
Yeah.
And I really think whether you're meeting someone in person or on an app, that's the mindset that needs to happen. And to your point, I agree, like, maybe you have a few non-negotiables. Like, I will admit, like, I did want someone. I didn't want someone to like support me, but I wanted an equal. I wanted someone that, like, could stand on their own.
Fuck yeah.
That being said, though, like, I mean, it's hard to say, like, what is ultimately the best. Like, I definitely know, like, situations that aren't always like that, and they work, you know?
Sure. Yep. I I don't think it's about guilting someone who is in a situation that they're trying to get out of. But the end of the movie, again, going back to character development, he's like, I promise that to love you forever, but I can't promise I'll make more money. I can't
But
promise
that's who he
that
was, and she was
I can
accepting
provide
it.
more, but I can
Yeah.
promise that I will work more catering jobs. And I was like, damn, okay, that's gonna be your life. But sure, if that's what she's accepting, that's what she's accepting. I think it's about a person's journey. Cause yeah, you could be in a relationship with someone very financially stable and they could lose their job, they could lose their
Yeah.
stability. That could definitely happen. But it's the journey. If someone's not To me, it's like if someone's not willing to grow or change or to find a better life for themselves, that's more of the problem than how much money they're making then.
Yeah, but he
So,
was again pursuing a dream of his. I don't know. I guess I don't have as big a problem with it. Like I think people are saying it's like broke man propaganda, and I just don't think that's like what it was really about.
well, yeah, she just chose the wrong character. Like, why make him a theater actor? Make him an accountant. That's what I'm saying. Just make him an
Well,
accountant or
because
like,
that's the point she's trying this discourse, the fact that this much convo is happening would not have happened if he was an accountant. It'd be a boring movie.
okay, all right, we'll see. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
I will
know.
stand on the hill that I really love the movie and I was very
Good,
pleasantly surprised. I see the
good.
points, but I think overall to me it was just I think it was very powerful what it was saying overall.
And I am very happy that you took away that from the movie, and I will support all Asian American directors and writers. I just think this is a flop from Celine in terms of writing, but I think go see it. Like, I'm not gonna tell you all to not see it. Go see it. Let us know what you think. Send us an email, DM us, whatever it may be. We really want to hear what you're thinking and what you're taking away from it. And hopefully, what we've said hasn't tainted what you think.
I wanna put a poll up on Spotify and then also in
Mm,
our Facebook group to see
yes.
get a
Okay.
feel and probably Instagram too. So just follow us. Basically follow
Yes.
us somewhere or write a comment here on YouTube. What did you think? We'd love to hear your
Right.
opinion. It's very polarizing. I think I'm glad we're able to have this convo because
Yes.
these are the two opinions of this. And I knew after I saw the TikTok parts that you were gonna
Yeah.
like have issue with like the brokenness. I knew that was gonna be your thing.
The brokenness. No, it's just he's a fucking loser. He's not just broke. He's a loser. Sorry,
But
Chris
it's her
Evans. You're
true love. It's her love, her life.
good luck, girl. Good luck. All right, that is
Okay.
all for this week.
This is a long one. This is a long one. We had a lot to say. A lot to say on this topic. Okay.
All
Make
right.
sure to subscribe, get the podcast, and we'll see you next week. Actually, yeah, we'll be a little on break for brunch talk for a little, but we'll continue to do live. So this will be kind of the wrap of brunch talk for until we're on our next season, but we'll be on YouTube still.
Yay.
Bye.
All right. Bye, y'all.